Hello friends, this is Nirmal here for Technique, and in this video we're going to compare two budget smartphones, the Meizu M2 with the Redmi 2 Prime. So these two phones are priced 699 and comes with a lot of similarities in terms of the specs and the features being offered. So let's compare these two phones for various aspects like design, the build quality, software performance, camera, battery life, and the overall experience using these devices, and also decide which is better device to buy here. So let's start off the comparison. So first up, let's see the quick specs. So the Meizu M2 was announced a couple of weeks back, and this is the cheapest phone from Meizu. It is priced 699. It comes with a 5-inch HD display. It's powered by a quad-core MediaTek chipset with 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of internal storage. There is also micro SD card expansion slot. There is 2500 mAh battery, Android 5.1 Lollipop, and a custom Flyme OS 4.5. It also has a 13 megapixel rear camera, front 5 megapixel camera, and LED flash. So that is the spec aspect of the Meizu M2. Now talking about the Xiaomi Redmi 2 Prime. So this phone was announced a couple of months back. This is the first made in India device by Xiaomi in India, and this comes with upgraded specs when compared to the Redmi 2. This has 4.7-inch HD display powered by Snapdragon 410 quad-core chipset with 2 gigs of RAM and 16 gigs of internal storage. This has Android 4.4 KitKat with MIUI, and this also has an 8 megapixel rear camera, front facing 5 megapixel camera, 4G LTE, dual SIM card slot, and a 2200 mAh battery. So that is the spec aspect of these two phones. So there are a lot of similarities between these two devices. 2 gigs of RAM, it's a quad-core chipset on both these devices, 16 gigabyte internal storage, and very similar battery experience as well. Now let's get started with the detailed aspect. So first up, let's see the design and build quality. So design wise, the Meizu M2 has a standout design in this price point. It has a lot of similarities with the Meizu's M1 Note and M2 Note with curved rear panels. You can see the edges are curved. The finishing on the rear panel looks really premium. It's a matte finish kind of rear panel, and it has the volume and power button on the right side. On the top you have the micro USB charging slot. It also has a physical home button. There are no back button available on this device. Instead, if you tap on this home button, it acts as the back key. So that's the available options, and it also has this micro USB charging slot, speaker located at the bottom, and this also has a non-removable rear panel, so the battery is non-removable, and this SIM card tray slot has dual SIM card support, but it's a hybrid SIM card, which means the second SIM card slot can be used as the micro SD card slot. So that is a design aspect of the Meizu M2. So all in all, Meizu M2 is a really good well-built device and feels really good in hands. Now talking about the Redmi 2 Prime, this is again a very popular device in the budget segment, and Xiaomi has improved with the design aspects. You can see the matte finish rear panel looks really premium. The design, it's a lot thicker than the Meizu M2. You can see thickness is slightly higher, and the display size is also lower, but the display size being lower makes it pretty more compact than the Meizu M2 if you're looking for a smaller device. And overall, you can see the power and volume keys have been given a chrome finish. There are three capacitive touch buttons here. The 4.7-inch display, the front camera, the rear camera is well arranged. You have the speaker unit, the LED flash. So all in all, both these devices are fairly good looking device, and you can easily say that both these devices have almost similar design and build quality, but we would slightly be inclined to choose the Meizu M2 over the Redmi 2 Prime for two reasons. The rear panel looks slightly more premium than the Xiaomi Redmi 2 Prime, and it's lightweight and also slightly slimmer. So in the design and build quality, we would say the Meizu M2 is slightly ahead of the Xiaomi Redmi 2 Prime. Now moving on to the display, both these devices have HD display. Now although the display resolution is same, the display size is different. We have a 5-inch display on the Meizu M2, while we have a 4.7-inch display on the Redmi 2 Prime. So since the display is smaller on the Redmi 2 Prime, you can see that the pixels per inch is slightly higher on the Redmi 2 Prime. Now talking about the display quality, we would say both these devices are pretty good in the display aspect, and they're pretty vibrant, colorful, great viewing angles. The touch response is also very good on both these devices. So we can't really choose a display here. Both these devices have great displays. But talking about the overall quality, Meizu M2 has the brightness level slightly lower than we would say than the Redmi 2 Prime. So that's one concern when you're moving to bright sunlight. That's the only issue we face. So rest all aspects, we would say both these devices have great display quality, and they are both almost similar in terms of the overall display experience. Now talking about the software, so Meizu M2 has this custom Flyme OS on top of Android 5.1 Lollipop. So this is the latest version of Android. Although Android 6.0 has been released for budget phones, this is still one of the latest versions, and you can see this as a custom notification center. You can see the quick toggles are customized. But when talking about the OS, we would say that the Flyme OS is completely different when compared to the Android experience. So if you're looking for a Android like experience, you might find it difficult. You can see this as a slightly different layout. Although almost all the features are available, the Flyme OS is kind of different when compared to the normal Android experience. So if you're using Flyme OS for the first time, you might find it a bit difficult to use, even though it is definitely a polished OS. It looks pretty good. There are lots of customization options. You can see you will have this option called personalization options. You can download themes and install a lot of themes available, although a lot of them are in Chinese. And it also has this security app which allows you to get better out of device with cleaning junk files, apps, manage traffic, permissions, and power saving mode. So all in all, it's a fairly good looking UI, but then it might be a bit difficult for you to start using it initially. So in the initial use, you might find it a bit difficult to use, but over a period of time, once you get used to this UI, it's a fairly good looking UI, and the performance on this device is pretty good. You can multitask by just swiping from the bottom. You have this multitasking option, and the back button is integrated onto the home button. And the overall performance with the quad-core chipset and 2GB RAM is really good. There is 16GB internal storage. You can expand, but at the cost of one SIM card. So if you expand the storage, you will be limited to one SIM card slot. But if you're using just a default storage, you can have a dual SIM card. There's also 4G LTE enabled on this device. The gaming experience was pretty good on this device. It could play almost all games with ease, no major lags or issues. So the overall experience is pretty good. Now talking about the Redmi 2 Prime. So this has Android 4.4 KitKat. It's an outdated version, and this has this MIUI. So MIUI version is one of the highlights of this device. It does have a lot of additional features, tools. We have this themes app to customize. MIUI offers a lot of additional tools, and this is one of the highly customizable OS. And we would say this is slightly ahead of the Flyme OS, and looks much more refined and polished to use, and it's much easier to use as well. And this phone runs on Snapdragon 410 quad-core chipset, and the performance is pretty good with 2GB RAM and 16GB internal storage. We never had any issues with the overall performance. This also has 4G LTE support, dual SIM card, micro SD card expansion slot, and the gaming experience was also pretty good on this device. So all in all, in the software and performance, while the software in the Meizu M2 is the latest version, the Android 5.1, the overall experience is slightly better on the Redmi 2 Prime. In terms of the performance, both our devices are really good. Overall, no major lags or issues. But if you're looking for dual SIM card and micro SD card expansion slot, then we would say the Redmi 2 Prime is a better choice here. Now moving on to the camera. So both these devices have really good cameras in this price point. The Meizu M2 has a 30 megapixel rear camera and 5 megapixel camera, while the Redmi 2 Prime has a 8 megapixel and 2 megapixel front facing camera. Now talking about the camera interface, so let's open the camera interface and can see there are a lot of similar in terms of the interface. You can see a lot of options are included. It also has this manual mode. You can change settings manually, so that's also available here even in the Xiaomi Redmi 2 Prime. So all in all, we would say both these devices are feature rich in terms of the camera experience and almost similar in terms of the overall camera app experience as well. Now talking about the camera quality, both these devices are really good in terms of the camera performance, but since the Meizu M2 has a 13 megapixel camera, we would say the performance is slightly better on the Meizu M2. Meizu cameras have been known for great clarity, and the Meizu M2 does have a pretty good camera experience overall. The Redmi 2 Prime is now far behind. We would say it's almost close to the Meizu M2 in terms of the overall performance, but since the overall the photo clarity is slightly better on the Meizu M2, we would give it to the Meizu M2 in terms of the overall camera performance. Now talking about the battery life, both these devices have 2000 plus battery capacity, with Meizu M2 having 2500 and the Redmi 2 Prime having 2200 milliamp battery. Both these devices can take you 1 day of usage. We don't have much of issue with the battery life. You can easily get 1 day of usage, but more than a day might be difficult with moderate usage. But occasionally you might end up with slightly more than battery life on the Meizu M2 than the Redmi 2 Prime. So we have compared both these devices. Now both these devices are priced exactly the same 6999, so which is better value for money. Now if you're looking for the latest Android version and better camera along with a slightly better design and build quality, we would say the Meizu M2 is the better choice. But if you're looking for better software experience, the UI, then we would say the Xiaomi's MIUI is much better than the Meizu's Flyme OS, and this also has a micro SD card expansion slot as separate, not a hybrid SIM card. So if you are using dual SIM card, you might not have issues with the dual SIM card experience along with the micro SD card on the Redmi 2 Prime. So that was a detailed comparison of the Meizu M2 with the Xiaomi Redmi 2 Prime. So hope you like this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.